For today's Business Matters, we have Don Ma here with us. Don, how are you?
Doing well. How about you guys?
Yeah, pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah, what's going on today in the world of business?
Right, so let me start off with this. Sneakers chain Foot Locker is training for a comeback without Nike leading the team. So Foot Locker was the world's largest retailer of athletic footwear and apparel, according to a 2002 Forbes report. Nike accounted for 75% of the products sold at stores during the 2010s. Foot Locker was not prepared when consumers switched to online shopping, though, during the pandemic, and Nike also updated its strategy to direct-to-consumer sales and started prioritizing products for Foot Locker's competitors, Dick's Sporting Goods and JD Sports. So Foot Locker's new CEO has outlined a turnaround plan. It includes better marketing, a new real estate plan, a revamped loyalty program as well, and an emphasis on online sales. Meanwhile, California is banning all plastic bags at grocery stores. Governor Newsom signed a new law Sunday. So thin plastic bags were already banned, but consumers would still buy bags made out of thicker plastic and reuse them. But lawmakers who supported the bill said this was not happening and said that these bags were ending up in the trash as well. So the latest ban was passed last month and is now set to go into effect. Starting in 2026, customers who don't bring their own bags to the store will only be given the option of a paper bag. And thousands of hospitality workers went on strike in San Francisco yesterday. They demanded better wages and protested staff cuts made during the pandemic. Workers from hotels like Hilton Union Square, Palace Hotel, Westin St. Francis, and Grand Hyatt participated. They cited a 50% reduction in workforce that led to heavier workloads. The 24-hour protest involved around 1,500 workers marching in shifts. Many workers shared experiences of increased duties without fair compensation. They're determined to fight for improved conditions. And investment firm Monroe Capital says it plans to launch a $1 billion fund for smaller auto suppliers transitioning into electric vehicles. The White House says the fund, called the Drive Forward Fund LP, will provide low-cost capital for small and medium-sized manufacturers to refinance and diversify. It's going to be backed by government-guaranteed loans through a Small Business Administration license. The U.S. Treasury has also announced a $9 million grant for the Michigan Auto Supplier Transition Program. It's for helping companies finance EV components. Now, House Republicans have unveiled their Plan B to avoid a government shutdown after failing to pass a 6-month continuing resolution last week. Our Washington correspondent Luis Martinez has more details on Speaker Johnson's new proposal.
Speaker of the House Mike Johnson's new proposal to avoid a government shutdown would extend current levels of government funding through December 20th of this year, pushing the funding battle over to a lame duck session of Congress after the general election. Democratic Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries praised the new proposal in a statement. According to Jeffries, the continuing resolution currently under consideration is now consistent with the spending levels agreed upon in the Bipartisan Fiscal Responsibility Act. It is also devoid of any partisan right-wing policy. Some House Republicans are against the December deadline or considering any major legislation during a lame duck session of Congress.
But I'll take some level of reform, but I'm not going to take no reform. It's also particularly bad to kick this into December. It's a lame duck where there's maximum level of unaccountability for elected officials. I think it's a terrible idea to go to December.
Other House Republicans are against a continuing resolution altogether and would rather see government spending levels reduced.
Would you be willing to vote for a clean CR?
No, I'd like to vote on a budget. We've been up here all year. In 30 years, we haven't done a budget. We haven't, and it's what we're constitutionally mandated to do, and we don't do it.
The proposed plan would also add $231 million to the Department of Homeland Security's budget for the protective operations of the Secret Services during the presidential campaign and national special security events.
Government shutdowns don't help anybody. They actually cost more money. There's no savings there. So to me, this is not a function of saving money, and it would be the height of stupidity to shut the government down just before an election.
In the last 50 years, Congress has only properly passed all 12 appropriation bills on 4 separate occasions. In the last decade, Congress's inaction has already caused 3 government shutdowns. Reporting from Washington, D.C., Luis Eduardo Martinez, NTD News.
And it looks like Chinese and Russian vehicles will be taking an exit on American roads under a ban proposed by the U.S. Commerce Department. The planned regulation would prohibit key software and hardware in connected vehicles. Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo said this is strictly about national security. She said software built by foreign adversaries could be used for surveillance or be controlled remotely. The software ban would go into effect for 2027 car models, followed by a hardware ban for 2030 models. And a group representing major automakers warned that hardware and software changes would take time. Fast fashion from China could see a slowdown. The Biden administration is cracking down on duty-free shipping for cheap products from China. President Biden is trying to stop foreign companies from avoiding tariffs by claiming their goods are worth less than $800. China-founded e-commerce platforms Shein and Temu benefit from these de minimis exceptions. Shein says that it makes import compliance a priority. A nonprofit that tracks lobbying reports that Shein has already spent $2 million this year on U.S. federal lobbying efforts. Temu appears to have another strategy, focusing on users outside of the U.S. Data indicates that fewer Americans made purchases on Temu this year. And artificial intelligence that sounds like you may have been trained by your own words. Different social media platforms have already started using content posted by users to train AI models. LinkedIn and X allow users to opt out, but they have to go into their settings and update their privacy preferences. Snapchat is more of an opt-in case. Its My Selfie feature turns selfies into AI-generated images. Its terms of service then allows Snapchat to use those images, even to create AI-generated ads with users' faces. And as for Reddit, any and all public posts are fair game. Similar for Meta, public Facebook and Instagram content may be used to train its AI system. Now, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi said the country was committed to the ethical and responsible use of artificial intelligence during a meeting with the top leadership of technology giants in New York. Modi met with 15 tech and pharmaceutical chief executives. That's including the Adobe's CEO, Google's CEO as well, and don't forget AMD CEO and NVIDIA CEO. The top leaders after their meeting with Modi said it was an exciting time to partner with India, hailing Modi's Make in India initiative. This meeting was in line with Modi's agenda of deepening ties with the U.S. tech sector and the U.S. tech sector and inviting them to India for investment. Now, in Australia, the consumer watchdog accused the country's two largest supermarket chains of misleading shoppers about discounts on hundreds of products in lawsuits filed today. And this is tightening pressure on the sector amid a cost of living crisis. Take a look.
Australia is suing its two largest supermarket chains for allegedly misleading shoppers about discounts on hundreds of items. The country's competition watchdog filed separate lawsuits against Coles and Woolworths on Monday for breaching consumer law. The chair of Australia's Competition and Consumer Commission, Gina Cass-Gottlieb, says the discount prices appeared to be an illusion.
We allege that Woolworths and Coles offered the products at regular long-term prices for 6 months or more, then increased the price for a short period before placing the products on the Woolworths Prices Dropped promotion or the Coles Down promotion at prices higher than or the same as the prior regular price.
The ACCC says it's seeking unspecified penalties. It did say that potential fines for breaches of consumer law can hit either the equivalent of $34 million, 30% of turnover during the wrongdoing, or 3 times the benefit gained. Woolworths said in a statement it will review the Commission's claims and continue to engage with it. Coles said it takes compliance with Australian consumer law seriously and would defend the case. The allegations against the supermarket brands come as Australians deal with the cost of living crisis with rising interest rates, housing prices, and energy bills. On Monday, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said that if the allegations are true, they are completely unacceptable.
This is not the Australian spirit. Customers don't deserve to be treated as fools by the supermarkets. They deserve much, much better than that. My government takes today's announcement by the ACCC very seriously.
Shares of Woolworths and Coles were down as much as 4% in trading after the news.
Now, seeing clearly has landed a Meta smart glasses user a job at the top of the products team. Lee Chen Miller's LinkedIn shows she is now the VP of Product Wearables. And this came after her criticism of the Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses, which she shared with Meta's head of wearables. Alex Heimel told Bloomberg News that Miller sent him an email with a long list of suggested improvements. That got the Microsoft alum the job at Meta. Founder Mark Zuckerberg has invested heavily in wearable technology. Ray-Ban Meta does not have augmented reality capabilities yet, but it does have video cameras, speakers, and an AI assistant. Meta is expected to unveil an AR glasses prototype at its annual conference on Wednesday. All right, quickly, markets S&P back to record highs after a green day on Wall Street. It's up around 0.3% today. Dow Jones up around 0.1%. NASDAQ up about the same. Tesla over 4% up for the day. It's up over 44% in the past 6 months. All right, and that is all the stories we have today on Business Matters. Back to you guys, Carrie, Fiona.
Thanks, Don. Lots of interesting things going on. Particularly of note to me, the two stories on the social platforms, both with the wearables by Meta and then the trend of the platforms harvesting data to train their AI models. What do you think about that, Fiona?
I mean, yeah, that story about AI training models also really stood out to me, really concerning to me, really, especially the mention there that I believe some social media platforms, it's more of an opt-out process where you're automatically enrolled into this program almost, and you have to opt out of it. I think that's very crazy to me. And I mean, I use these social media platforms whenever they roll in new updates. It's never too clear what those new updates are. And so I wouldn't know if I had been automatically enrolled into one of these programs.
Yeah, and it could be even more scary and concerning in the future when these AI systems become so realistic that if they're training based on your own voice, just imagine like 10 years from now how realistic they could sound compared to your actual voice. I mean, I would imagine some wouldn't even be able to differentiate.
We seem to be heading towards the science fiction novels that we've all been reading, so keep an eye on that. Thanks, Don.
Thank you.